The ghost of the Cold War. For decades, the jungles of Puerto Rico and the beaches of the Virgin Islands held a quiet secret, the rusting remains of a Cold War giant. But in 2026, the silence has been broken. The Roosevelt Roads Naval Station, once the largest U.S. naval facility in the world, is being rapidly resurrected from its 2004 slumber. This isn't a training exercise. It's the reactivation of a forward operating base. Nearby, the Henry E. Rohlsen Airport in the U.S. Virgin Islands is undergoing a radical transformation. What was once a gateway for sun-seeking tourists is now a hardened logistics hub. Massive C-17 Globemasters are landing day and night, hauling the heavy machinery of war into the heart of the Southern Caribbean. The world is asking, why now? The answer lies in a direct challenge to the Monroe Doctrine. Intelligence reports suggest that Moscow and Beijing are no longer just visiting Caracas. They are laying the foundations for permanent military bases in Venezuela. For the United States, this is an existential threat, a red line drawn in the Caribbean sand. The oil and the noose. Beyond the geopolitics, there is the lifeblood of the regime, oil. The precursors to conflict are already visible on the high seas. U.S. Coast Guard helicopters are now actively intercepting and seizing tankers leaving Venezuelan waters. The strategy is clear: choke off the cash flow and starve the regime's war machine before the first real shot is fired. If the order to attack is given, the U.S. Navy has already assembled what military planners call a kill chain. At the tip of the spear is the USS Jason Dunham, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. But the Dunham isn't just there for its missiles. It is an electronic predator, designed to jam Venezuelan communications and blind their coastal radars. Standing beside it is the USS Stockdale, the fleet's indestructible shield. Equipped with the advanced Aegis missile defense system, its sole mission is to swat down any anti-ship missiles the Venezuelan military launches in a desperate counterattack. It ensures the fleet remains untouchable. The invasion force. But a blockade is one thing, an invasion is another. The presence of the USS Iwo Jima changes the calculation entirely. This massive amphibious assault ship is a floating fortress. You don't bring the Iwo Jima unless you plan to put boots on the ground. It is the platform from which waves of Marines will storm the coast. To the south, the back door is being slammed shut. Using the waters of Trinidad and Tobago, the USS Gravely acts as a sentinel. Its job is to blockade the Gulf of Paria, ensuring no Venezuelan submarines or fast attack boats can escape into the Atlantic to threaten global shipping lanes. Coordinating this entire symphony of destruction is the USS Lake Erie. As a Ticonderoga-class cruiser, it serves as the air defense commander. From its high-tech command center, it tracks every friendly and enemy asset in the theater, serving as the brain of the operation. Death from above. While the ships move into position, the first strike will likely come from the stratosphere. B-52 Stratofortresses will fly non-stop from the continental U.S., releasing a rain of cruise missiles before turning back without ever touching Caribbean soil. They are the heavy hammers of the opening hour. Following them are the B-1 Lancers. These supersonic bombers are built for low-altitude, high-speed penetration. They will swoop in under radar cover to vaporize hardened targets, command bunkers, and missile silos before the enemy even hears them coming. This is why Roosevelt Roads is so critical. It places tactical aircraft just minutes from the target. From here, MQ-9 Reapers will loiter over the Venezuelan interior for hours, hunting mobile missile launchers and striking with Hellfire missiles the moment a target emerges from cover. The door kickers of the sky will be the F-35 Lightning IIs. Their stealth capabilities allow them to penetrate the Venezuelan S-300 air defense batteries undetected. Once the S-300s are neutralized, the skies belong to the United States. The Spearhead, Special Operations. As the bombing subsides, the V-22 Ospreys will tilt their rotors and roar toward the coastline. Launching from the Iwo Jima, these aircraft will insert special forces teams deep behind enemy lines to seize key infrastructure and sow chaos within the regime's command structure. Sustaining this air armada requires a massive gas station in the sky. KC-130 tankers will orbit just outside the combat zone, allowing F-35s and Ospreys to stay in the fight for hours. Meanwhile, the C-17s will continue their non-stop shuttle of tanks, ammo, and fresh troops. The silent predator. Beneath the waters, the most terrifying asset operates in total silence, the nuclear-powered attack submarine. It is the ultimate ghost, intercepting encrypted regime communications and monitoring naval movements without ever being detected. If a naval engagement begins, the primary weapon is the heavyweight torpedo. The process is a masterpiece of lethal engineering. First, pressurized air propels the weapon from the tube. Then, a piston engine drives it toward the target at speeds exceeding 35 miles per hour. The weapon trails a thin wire, allowing the submarine's fire control system to steer it in real time. As it nears the target, the wire is cut, and the weapon's onboard active sonar takes over, hunting the hull of the enemy ship with terrifying autonomy. If the torpedo misses, it doesn't stop. It can circle back, reacquiring the target's acoustic signature for a second attempt. With the explosive power of 1,200 pounds of TNT, a single hit is often enough to snap a medium-sized warship in half. The Venezuelan defiance. However, the Venezuelan military is not a helpless bystander. Relying on their knowledge of the dense, unforgiving jungle terrain, they have mobilized a militia reported numbering over 4.5 million people. Their strategy is one of asymmetric defiance, a war of 1,000 cuts. The regime will likely employ hybrid warfare, blending conventional military units with powerful drug cartels. These cartels use fast boats and irregular smuggling routes to evade U.S. surveillance, blending in with civilian traffic to launch surprise raids against U.S. logistics lines. To counter the U.S. technological edge, Russia is expected to supply Venezuela with Shahed and Giron drones. These loitering munitions can stay airborne for hours, waiting for a vulnerability in U.S. airfields or command centers before diving in for a precision kamikaze strike. The ultimate reckoning. The U.S. strategy is to dismantle the narcotics networks and force a regime change through overwhelming firepower. By using P-8 Poseidon aircraft to track every movement on and under the water, the U.S. hopes to degrade the regime's ability to respond before the ground invasion even begins. This is a battle between two different worlds, the high-tech, precision-guided machine of the U.S. military versus the numerical, asymmetric, and deeply entrenched defense of the Venezuelan militia. One side relies on satellites and stealth, the other on the jungle and the shadow. Is an attack inevitable? When you see the bombers on standby, the amphibious ships in position, and the ghosts of the Cold War bases coming back to life, it appears the decision has already been made. The Caribbean is no longer a paradise. It is a powder keg.